Ladies and gentlemen, you know what's funny? Most people lose the battle before it even starts. Not because the world is too harsh or life is unfair, but because of that little radio inside their head constantly whispering, you can't do it, you're not ready, people will laugh at you. It's like we're all born with a built-in app called negative thinking too, and it comes with lifetime updates. Every time something goes wrong, that app kicks in. You fail one test and it says, see, you're stupid. You start a business and it doesn't take off. You're not meant for this. You like someone and they reject you. You're not good enough. And the worst part? We believe it. We trust that toxic voice more than we trust our own potential. Think about it. If negative thoughts were an actual person, most of us would still hang out with them. Imagine someone constantly telling you, you can't do this, you're wasting your time, everyone's better than you. Would you really keep that person around? Of course not. But when that same voice comes from inside our own head, we treat it like it's the truth of the universe. There was once a man who wanted to learn swimming. He bought the best books, watched countless tutorials, and asked every coach in town for advice, but he never stepped into the water. Why? Because his mind whispered, what if I drown? Months later, his friend, who knew nothing about swimming, jumped right in. He struggled, swallowed half the pool, but eventually learned to float. One man believed his fear, the other believed in trying. So, who's the real winner? That's life. Most people stand at the edge of opportunity, reading, preparing, waiting for confidence to arrive. But confidence never comes before action. It's born after you take the leap. Negative thinking tricks you into waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect courage. But that's like waiting for rain in the desert. Even the most successful people you admire had doubts too. The difference? They didn't obey those doubts. Michael Jordan once said he missed over 9,000 shots in his career. If he had listened to his fears, we'd never know his name. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. When asked how he kept going, he replied, I didn't fail 1,000 times, I just found 1,000 ways that didn't work. That's not blind positivity. That's persistence. That's called mental discipline. He killed the thought that whispered, I failed. Your brain is like a factory. Whatever you feed it, it produces. Feed it trash, and it'll give you trash. Tell it, I can't, and it'll prove you can't. Tell it, I can, and it'll start finding ways you can. That's how the brain works. It's loyal to whatever you repeat most. So tomorrow, when that little voice says, you're not enough, just smile and reply, I've heard this joke before. Because that's all negative thinking is. A bad comedian who never changes the script. You know, negativity is like Wi-Fi. You don't have to search for it, it connects automatically. The moment you wake up, your brain goes, let's check today's problems. You haven't even brushed your teeth yet, and you're already worried about the future, the bills, your weight, your phone battery, everything. Then people wonder why they're always tired. It's not your body that's exhausted, it's your mind, overloaded with useless files. The what if files, the I can't do this files, the what will people think files. Delete them. Clear your mental storage before your system crashes. When Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, imagine the voice inside his head that day saying, you're done. You got kicked out of your own company. But he didn't listen. He started again, smaller, sharper, built Pixar, and later returned to Apple as a legend. That's not just brilliance, that's mental resilience. He silenced the voice that whispered, I'm finished. But look around today. Most people do the opposite. One rejection, and they shut down emotionally. One breakup, and they spend months posting sad quotes. One failed business, and they swear never to try again. The truth is, negative thinking isn't powerful. It just has great marketing. It convinces you that avoiding failure is smarter than taking another shot. But quitting doesn't protect you. It punishes you. I once met a young man who said, Sir, I want to start a business, but I don't think it'll work. I asked him, how do you know? He replied, because no one in my family ever did. And I told him, then that's exactly why you should. He went silent, because his entire life, he'd been trained to think small. That's what negative thinking does. It doesn't just limit your chances. It limits your life. Stop dreaming? It makes you feel like even dreaming is foolish. You know what's ironic? When we fail, we overthink. When we succeed, we underthink. We rarely celebrate our wins. We just scroll past them. But when we fail, our minds make a full-on documentary, replaying every mistake, every word, every what if. Be honest. How many nights have you stayed awake, arguing with your own brain over something that's already happened? That's negative thinking turning your mind into a courtroom, where you're both the lawyer and the prisoner. Look, no one completely escapes negativity. Even champions get scared. Even billionaires doubt themselves. The difference? They don't live there. They visit that thought, understand it, and then move on. They use it as fuel, not a cage. So next time your mind says you're not ready, say, good. No one ever is. When it says you might fail, say, perfect. That's how I'll learn. And when it says people will laugh, say, at least they're watching. Humor defeats negativity faster than logic ever will. When you start laughing at your fears, they lose power. When you say, okay brain, nice try, but we're doing this anyway, you become unstoppable because, at the end of the day, your negative thoughts can't hold you back unless you let them. Here's a secret. Your brain is the most loyal employee you'll ever have, but also the dumbest. It doesn't care whether you feed it garbage or gold. It will believe whatever you repeat enough times. Say, I can't do this 10 times, and your brain will say, okay boss, we can't. Say I'm capable, and it replies, all right boss, let's find a way. So, if your brain is listening to everything you say, why are you such a bad manager? You wouldn't talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself. Imagine telling a friend, you're useless. You'll never make it. You'd lose them in seconds. Yet somehow, you say it to yourself every morning and expect a productive day. Negative thinking isn't a personality trait. It's a habit. And like any habit, it can be replaced. When you catch yourself saying, I can't, just add one word. Yet. I can't do this. Yet. Feel the energy shift. Now your brain starts working for you, not against you. For example, you go to the gym for the first time, you lift the dumbbell. It feels like you're trying to move a car. Your brain says, see, you're weak. But if you tell yourself, yeah, I'm weak today, but give me 30 days, that changes everything. You've turned doubt into momentum. Even the most famous people had this switch. When Muhammad Ali said, I am the greatest, he wasn't bragging. He was rewiring his mind. He said it before he became champion because he knew if you don't believe it inside, the world won't believe it outside. The problem is, we've trained ourselves to expect the worst. We go into interviews thinking, they probably won't hire me. We start projects thinking, it'll probably fail. It's like running a marathon with your shoelaces tied together. You fall before the race even begins. I once spoke to a young girl who said, I want to post my art online, but what if people don't like it? I asked, how many people have seen it so far? She said, no one. I said, so you're afraid of imaginary haters? She laughed. But that's exactly what negative thinking does. It creates fear out of fiction. You know who never listens to negative thoughts? Kids. A child will draw something that kind of looks like a potato and proudly say, it's you. They don't care if it's messy or imperfect, they just create. But somewhere between childhood and adulthood, we stop creating and start calculating. Imagination gets replaced by hesitation. That's why overcoming negative thinking isn't about staying positive all the time. It's about reconnecting with that fearless kid inside you, the one who didn't overthink, who just tried. That version of you still exists. It's just buried under years of what ifs and I can'ts. So, starting today, don't fight your negative thoughts. Replace them. If your brain says, what if I fail? Reply, what if I soar? If it says, what will they think? Reply, they'll think what they want. I'm still going for it. The truth is, people are too busy battling their own doubts to notice yours. What's crazy is, most people aren't held back by life, they're held back by their imagination of failure. We play an entire movie in our heads called "What if it goes wrong?" and then never even try. And the wild part, we don't even have popcorn. Picture this. You're sitting there wanting to start something, a YouTube channel, a small business, or even just hit the gym. Then at 9:30, your brain whispers, "What if you fail?" And by 9:33, suddenly you're watching the trailer of your own disaster, losing everything, people laughing, the world ending, your mom saying, "I told you." And all that happens before you've even started. That's what negative thinking does. It makes you afraid before reality even shows up. Have you noticed how your brain turns tiny things into world-ending problems? You text someone and they don't reply for 2 hours. Your brain, "They hate me." Reality, their phone died. You post something online and no one likes it for 5 minutes. Your brain, "I'm irrelevant." Reality, it's 3 a.m. Everyone's asleep. See, your brain's job is to protect you, but it does it in the worst way possible. It says, don't take the risk, forgetting that not taking risks is the biggest risk of all. Here's something that will hit you hard. That negative voice in your head, it's not really yours. It's a mix of voices you've absorbed all your life. Parents, teachers, people who gave up on their own dreams. They planted their fears in your mind, and now you water them every morning with overthinking. That's why you have to be careful who you listen to. Some people talk like they're giving advice, but really, they're just sharing their own limits. You know the worst part? We trust fear more than we trust experience. You can have 10 good moments and 1 bad one, and that bad one will replay in your mind all day. You can get 100 compliments and 1 insult, and that's the only thing you'll remember. It's like our brains are allergic to peace. But here's the truth you need to grasp. You can't stop negative thoughts from showing up, they'll always knock. What you can do is stop inviting them in. When your mind says you're not good enough, say, "Maybe not yet, but I'm better than I was yesterday." When it whispers you'll embarrass yourself, reply, "Then I'll have a great story to tell." Because the moment you stop fearing embarrassment, you grow faster than those who play it safe. Everyone winning in life looked ridiculous. At first, the gym guy lifting with awful form, the YouTuber talking to a camera with 0 views, the girl selling handmade items nobody bought for months. They all looked silly before they looked successful. But they kept going. Because confidence doesn't come from thinking, you earn it by doing. So when negative thoughts arrive, don't fight them. Outwork them. You can't overthink and take action at the same time. Your brain has to pick one. Make it choose. Silence the doubt. Take back control. You know what's the saddest thing? Most people never discover how powerful they truly are because they let their own mind convince them they're weak. They wait for confidence to arrive like it's an Amazon delivery. But confidence doesn't knock on your door. You build it by facing what scares you over and over until fear gets bored. The problem is, we treat negative thoughts like breaking news. We stop everything just to listen. Your mind says, "You can't do this." And instead of saying, "Thanks for your input," we hold a 2-hour meeting with ourselves. Like, bro, your brain isn't CNN. You don't need daily updates on your insecurities. Here's the truth. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant strong thoughts, weeds of doubt grow automatically. You can't just think positive once and expect results. You have to water that belief every day. Feed your brain with growth, not gossip. With goals, not complaints. With "I'm learning," not "I'm losing." And I get it, it's not easy. Sometimes the noise in your head gets so loud you forget what silence even feels like. But every time you choose faith over fear, it gets a little quieter inside. That's how peace begins. Not when life gets easier, but when thinking starts to get clearer. You want to know what it really means to kill negative thinking? It's not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing which reality you want to grow. Because your thoughts aren't mirrors, they're paintbrushes. You don't just reflect life, you shape it. And if your design is full of can'ts, won'ts, and what ifs, don't be surprised when your life ends up looking just like your fears. Be honest with yourself. You'll have dark days. You'll doubt yourself. You'll feel lost. You'll question why you even started. That's normal. But remember this. You don't need to erase every negative thought. You just need to make sure they don't drive the car. Let them sit in the back seat while you hold the steering wheel. Because one day, the same people who doubted you will ask how you stayed so strong. And you'll smile, knowing the battle was never with them. It was always with the voice in your head, and you won. So from today, every time your brain whispers you can't, whisper back, watch me. That's how you kill negative thinking, not with force, but with faith, focus, and forward movement. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.